Europe has a long and bloody history of wars, of borders brutally contested, of nations and empires carving destructive furrows far from home. But a sad harvest of sorrow and loss after the Second World War was followed by decades of relative peace and prosperity, even during a Cold War that did not become hot. Today that peace is being severely tested by Russian President Vladimir Putin, as he masses troops on Ukraine's border and diplomats are raising the alarm in stark terms. The U.S. ambassador to the 57-nation, globe-straddling Organization for Cooperation and Security in Europe, Michael Carpenter, warned on Thursday that European security is facing a crisis, and the drumbeat of war is sounding loud. Putin, whose nation buried tens of millions of its own in European wars, is unearthing fresh grievances about the post-World War peace, specifically the role of NATO, the transatlantic defensive alliance and counterpoint to Russia's predecessor, the Soviet Union. Last summer, in a 20-page document citing centuries of blood-spattered history, Putin laid claim to Ukraine, which in 1991 regained its independence following the Soviet Union's collapse, stating Russians, Ukrainians, and Belarusians are all descendants of ancient Rus, which was the largest state in Europe. He concluded our spiritual, human and civilizational ties formed for centuries have their origins in the same sources. True sovereignty of Ukraine is possible only in partnership with Russia. As commander of the world's fifth-largest army, and barely halfway through an expected almost four-decade rule, Putin is setting the stage to stake his claim just as his ancestors did, positioning forces on Ukraine's border awaiting his command. Having already invaded Crimea in 2014, fears Russian troops will again cross the border have never been higher. The past week of talks bilaterally with the U.S. in Geneva Monday, with NATO in Brussels Wednesday, and culminating at the OSCE in Vienna on Thursday, which were meant to ease tensions, seem to have achieved the opposite and entrenched Putin's emissaries in hostile rhetoric. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov set the tone on Monday, demanding ironclad, waterproof, bulletproof, legally binding guarantees, not assurances, not safeguards, guarantees that NATO deny Ukraine and others membership and roll back to 1997 lines. 2 days later, after NATO talks in Brussels, another deputy foreign minister, Alexander Grushko, threatened force if they don't get what they want. We have a set of legal military technical measures that we will apply if we feel a real threat to our security, and we already feel it, he said. By Thursday, when talks reached the OSCE, whose territory circumnavigates the northern hemisphere from Russia's easternmost frozen tundra to Alaska's icy western tip, and where both Russia and Ukraine are members, a diplomatic permafrost had formed. Russia's OSCE ambassador, Alexander Lukashevich, warned of a moment of truth with catastrophic consequences if Russia's principles are violated. In Moscow Friday, Putin's long-serving foreign minister Sergei Lavrov warned the West got carried away, and tapping into Russian folklore, hinted Putin's diplomacy may have run its course, saying, "We have been harnessing slowly, but now it's time for us to ride."